And then we found that like the main pain points is not really the yield level, because the yield level of close to 10% is really appealing to a lot of traditional users. They are getting basically zero interest in their bank. So it's not really the yield level, but rather the user experience.
In today's episode, our featured project is Flurry Finance. In a simplistic overview, FlurryFi offers crypto enthusiasts a way to earn, trade, and spend with ease and stability by removing the technical barriers for non-technical savvy users. FlurryFi has set out to make the yield generation experience as simple and convenient as it should be. To tackle the problems currently surrounding yield farming in the crypto space, a cross-chain token known as the rhoToken, which is part of the Flurry Protocol, was introduced. To further elaborate on the concept behind the underlying technology, we brought on the CEO and co-founder of Flurry Finance to help us understand the mechanism in place and why this will change the status quo of yield farming. Hey crypto enthusiasts, welcome back to the Altcoin News Podcast. For each and every one of you tuning in, your support is our motivation to keep featuring amazing and potentially disruptive projects. So be sure to like and subscribe if you find this video useful. This podcast series is meant to enlighten you with insider knowledge and expert opinion from professionals and blockchain pioneers. Before we get in, I do have to point out our disclaimer. All information presented in this series is meant for educational purposes only. Please do your own due diligence if you plan on moving your capital into any of the projects that we cover. Your money shouldn't be dictated by anyone ever. With that out of the way, please enjoy our podcast. By the end of this interview, we're doing a free giveaway, so be sure to stay put to get your passphrase to redeem your web packet. Joining us today is Mike Ting, the CEO and founder of Flurry Finance. Without further ado, let's jump in. Good morning, Mike. Thank you for coming in. It's always inspiring to hear the story of an entrepreneur, especially in the exciting crypto space. So why don't we kick off the session with you telling us your story and how did you get into blockchain?
Sure. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me today. I'm glad to be here to talk more about myself and also the project Flurry. So to talk about how I entered the crypto space, it was actually interesting. I come from the traditional banking background. I spent most of my career in trading stock and derivatives in Hong Kong, Korea, and Singapore market. And although I spent most of my career in finance, I actually have my undergrad in computer science. So I studied computer science at Cornell University and Stanford University later for my master's degree. And that's actually this tech background mixed with my finance background that brought me to blockchain. So I entered the crypto space in 2018, and it was not early for a lot of crypto degen or whatever. It was a bit late, to be honest, but then at that time, I was actually looking for a inflation hedge. So the government has been printing money for years. And at that time, I was a trader in a bank and I was looking for an inflation hedge. And then I came across the Bitcoin white paper and I was impressed with the blockchain technology because of my technical background in my undergrad. I really love the blockchain technology and I think it can change how traditional finance can be done. And that's how I entered the crypto space in 2018. I started by applying my trading knowledge to trading different crypto derivatives on different exchanges. And then I started my trading platform in 2019. And in the summer of 2020, DeFi was really hot. And I started to feel DeFi actually brought a lot of application scenarios to blockchain. And I can actually recreate a lot of existing financial products in a decentralized way using blockchain. And that's how I started to look into different DeFi projects and try to come up with my own. And that is how we started with Flurry, which is like a traditional money market fund managing stablecoin and generate yield for the users. And that's how we started Flurry. And that was like beginning of 2021.
Well, I think in a sense, the blockchain space is still in the early phase. It's comparable to the internet of the 90s, right? So there's still plenty of opportunities and it's still pretty early to get in. So in my service level understanding, Flurry Finance is tackling the inconvenience issues surrounding yield farming. Perhaps tell us more about the issues currently in the blockchain space that the FlurryFi team has set out to solve. Essentially, what's the vision behind Flurry Finance?
Sure. So Flurry Finance, as you said, is all about usability and convenience. So Lawrence, our CTO, and I was using like different yield products to generate yield in DeFi space, and then we found that like the main pain points is not really the yield level, because the yield level of close to 10% is really appealing to a lot of traditional users. They are getting basically zero interest in their banks. So it's not really the yield level, but rather the user experience. So we found that it's really sophisticated and complicated to use. So we have to go to different DeFi products to read the white paper, trying to understand the mechanism, understand the technical details to see whether it's safe to use. And then after you understand all these mechanisms, you have to be involved in a lot of steps when you try to earn interest in different products. So first of all, you have to connect your wallet, you have to pay a gas fee. And then when you try to switch from one platform to another, you have to redeem your token and then pay another gas fee to get out. So the whole process is not user-friendly, and that's why a lot of crypto users, they are turning away from DeFi because they find it very difficult to use. So they are frustrated and they don't know how to do it. So Lawrence and I think, oh, okay, maybe we can do all this for our users so that we can automate all this for you. It will be very simple and convenient to use. And that's how we came up with Flurry. And Flurry is trying to, so what problem Flurry is trying to solve is this sophisticated user interface. We are not trying to recreate or compete with other yield aggregators to generate a higher yield for users. That's not our focus. We are trying to focus on the user interface, the user-friendly part.
Yeah, definitely. I think what you guys are trying to do is awesome. By creating a user-friendly interface, it really minimizes the technical barrier to get into the crypto space, especially when it comes to yield farming and cross-chain interoperability. So that really solves a lot of problems, especially to beginners. So here comes a question that leans more towards the technical side. Would you mind explaining the Flurry Protocol, specifically regarding the utility of the rhoTokens? In a nutshell, how does it work?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, we have the rhoToken. So maybe first, let me explain why we call it a rhoToken. So rho is a Greek letter alphabet for interest rate. So we call it rhoToken because it's a token with interest generation capability. So in Flurry, we introduced rhoToken. So how it works is like this. So let's say you as a user have some stablecoin. In the first stage, we will support 3 stablecoin: USDT, USDC, and BUSD. So let's say you have 100 USDT. You come to Flurry, you deposit your USDT and convert them to the corresponding rhoToken. So for example, you have USDT, you will convert it to rhoUSDT. Once you convert it to rhoUSDT, the user doesn't have to do anything else. On the back, we will transfer the USDT that you deposited at Flurry to different yield products. For example, on Ethereum, we will do Compound RFA. On Binance Smart Chain, we will do Venus and Cream. So we will transfer your stablecoin to these yield products to generate yield. After we receive the yield or the reward tokens from these protocols, we will liquidate those for the stablecoin and realize the yield and then pay back the user. And the way we pay user the interest will be a bit different from other yield aggregators. Instead of changing the value of the deposit tokens, we are actually increasing the supply of rhoTokens. So how it works is, if you have 100 rhoUSDT, you earn 5% on this amount. You will get back that extra $5 in the form of 5 rhoUSDT. So you will see your balance of rhoUSDT growing from 100 to 105. And that's how users will receive interest every day. And this interest paying mechanism will be triggered every day. So there will be a daily rebasing mechanism, and you will see your wallet interest growing every day. And as a user, you don't have to do anything else. You just have to hold the rhoToken.
To expand on the previous question, from a user's perspective, what are some of the benefits of converting stablecoins to rhoTokens? And would holding on to rhoTokens prevent a user from being able to move around and purchase new assets quickly?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that's how Flurry is different from other UI aggregators. So we think there are two main factors or benefits that differentiate Flurry from other UI aggregators. So currently, if you use other UI aggregators, what you have to do is you deposit your fund and then you get back a deposit token. And as I just said, the value of this deposit token in other UI aggregators are changing. So what it means is you cannot use it as a medium of exchange. So if you want to spend your fund, what you have to do is you have to redeem your deposit token for the underlying stablecoin, get back your stablecoin, and then spend it. So it's kind of like lockup when you earn interest. But then in Flurry, we have this rebasing mechanism that is paying interest in the form of more rhoTokens. So through this mechanism, as in our example, you are getting back 105 rhoUSDT. And the way that we pay the tokens, the interest in the form of more tokens, is keeping the peg. So the rhoUSDT is always pegged 1-to-1 to the underlying USDT. So it's theoretically the same thing. So you don't have to redeem your rhoUSDT for USDT to spend it. You can basically spend your rhoUSDT directly. So if you want to trade with your friend or settle some transaction with your friend, if he's willing to accept USDT, he is willing to accept rhoUSDT because they are basically the same thing, except with rhoUSDT, you can earn interest in your wallet automatically. So your friend would be happy to receive your rhoUSDT because at the time he received the rhoUSDT, the wallet balance will grow daily and he is earning interest every day. So that's one benefit that separates Flurry from other UI aggregators. And then another main feature is the cross-chain capability. So currently, most of the UI aggregators out there are limited to single chain. So they can earn interest on maybe Ethereum, the biggest source of yield at the moment, or they can earn interest on BSC or Polygon alone, but they cannot earn interest from different chains. What Flurry is trying to do in the long term is we can transfer your stablecoin to different chains to look for the best yield for you. So as a user, you don't have to think about which chain you want to be on. Even if you are on Ethereum, you convert your stablecoin to rhoTokens on Ethereum. It doesn't matter you are on Ethereum. We can transfer your stablecoin to Polygon or to Cardano or even Solana in the long run and earn yield, and then pay back the yield in the form of more rhoTokens on Ethereum for you. So as a user, you see your wallet balance on Ethereum is growing, but you actually are earning interest on different chains. So that's the main goal of Flurry in the long term. We are trying to, so as a user, you don't have to care about the tedious process of transferring your stablecoin from one chain to another, or worry about the liquidity bridge or the cost of transferring fund among chains. We will do all this for you. So it's all automated.
As you have just mentioned, FlurryFi currently supports USDT, USDC, and BUSD. So in terms of interoperability, does FlurryFi plan on supporting other stablecoin projects in the future?
Yes. So in the beginning, we are, as we said, we try to support only three, USDT, USDC, and BUSD, because they are the biggest and most popular stablecoin at the moment. But then in the future, we can see that there is a lot of innovation going on. There will be a lot of more stablecoin that are popular. So that is the beauty and flexibility of Flurry Finance. So we are not trying to recreate a new stablecoin. We are trying to ride on the popular stablecoin at that time. So if there is a new stablecoin coming out, we can quickly wrap a new rhoToken on top of this new stablecoin ABC. Maybe we call it rhoABC, and then we already give this new stablecoin a interest generation capability. So we are like transforming the stablecoin to an enhanced form with extra feature, which is yield generation.
That's great to know. Definitely sounds like your team has thought about the scalability issue and flexibility as well as efficiency. So this next question is about the tokenomics behind the Flurry token. Could you elaborate on, as I said, the tokenomics, and perhaps tell us more about the governance system? what are the incentives in place for a continuous contribution to the ecosystem, and what will the community be able to dictate?
Sure. So we have talked a lot about the rhoTokens, but we haven't talked about the business model. So as we said, like rhoTokens is like a traditional money market fund. So how a traditional money market fund generate revenue is by management fee. And we will do the same. So in the beginning, we will charge a management fee of 10% on the yield generated for users. So for example, if we generate 10% for you, we'll charge 1% of this, which is 10% of the 10% interest that we generate for the user. So once we get this management fee income, we will use part of it to buy back Flurry tokens from the market. So this reduces the circulating supply, supporting the price. And then we will put back these Flurry tokens that we bought back in a staking pool. So if you are a Flurry token owner and then you stake your Flurry token in Flurry, you are indirectly getting back the Flurry tokens that we bought back from the market. And that is like you are indirectly benefiting from the management fee income of the protocol. So if you have more TVL in the rhoTokens, you will have more management fee income and more Flurry tokens will be bought back from the market, and you will get more staking reward as a Flurry token owner. So that's how a Flurry token holder are benefiting from the rhoToken popularity. And then other than the management fee income, Flurry token owners will also be entitled to vote on the yield generation strategies that we are deploying in the protocol. So in the long run, all the Flurry token owners will have a right to vote on which strategies they want to bring into the protocol or remove from the protocol. And they are also have the capability to vote on the risk factor of the new strategy. So some strategies may be more risky than others, and it's up to the Flurry token owners to vote on the risk factor.
Speaking of the future, would you be willing to share what's the roadmap ahead for Flurry Finance, short-term and long-term? And just to sum it up for some of our curious audience, what are some of the milestones your team has achieved so far?
Yep, sure. So we started in end of April, and we actually have achieved quite a lot in this short period of time. So maybe I will focus on the product development side. So we have already finished our audit by Static, and we care about security and safety a lot. So that's why we first go for the reputable auditors to audit our contract. So we are done with the first version audited, and we already have our testnet product on Coven, Robston, and then on BSC testnet. We receive a lot of feedback from our users and our community. Our tech team is working very hard on addressing all these issues because we care about what our users think. So now we are done. We are having our mainnet launch on the 11th of October, which is next Monday. We will first launch on Binance Smart Chain because the gas fees on Ethereum is a bit high at the moment. So we think it's better to have the first mainnet launch on BSC so that users can get familiar with our product and know what we are trying to do. And then, so this is the, we are also talking to Chainlink to use their keepers function to trigger the daily rebasing that we talk about. But that will be on the Ethereum net later. On the BSC, we are using other mechanisms to trigger the daily rebasing. But then in the long run, as we said, we are trying to get on more chains. So the shorter term goal would be first to go on more chains. And then the longer term plan will be to have the cross-chain capability enabled. So in the short term, the first one would be Polygon. So Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, Polygon, and then we are talking to Cardano to see, because Cardano is still not live yet. So once they are going live and have more yield products, we as a yield aggregators will move to Cardano as well. And Solana will be next year maybe. So once we get on all these main chains, we'll enable the cross-chain feature maybe later next year. And then once we can have our cross-chain feature enabled, then that will be like the first cross-chain yield aggregator in the market.
Thank you for coming in today, Mike. So this last question concludes our podcast. As co-founder and CEO, would you like to represent your team to send a message to your community and our audience, as well as future potential investors?
Sure. So I hope everyone has a very clear picture of what Flurry Finance is about by now. And as we said, our mission is to make this new generation easy and convenient to use. Our team is working very hard at the moment on the product development, and you will see the user interface that we will launch next week will be very easy to use and convenient as we promised. And we believe that's a whole new experience for you farming for DeFi users. And we believe that we can really make DeFi for everyone in the long run. Thank you.
On an important note, Flurry Finance has initiated its startup sale for its governance token, Flurry, on Gate.io on September 5th, raising over 27.5 million USDT within 24 hours, which exceeded its original goal by an amazing 55,000%. Currently, FlurryFi is holding a trading competition on Gate.io. If you're interested in learning more about the details, the link is also down below. Last but not least, there are 100 wrap packets worth over $500 to be redeemed by using the passphrase rhoToken with no cap and no space in between. Good luck, guys! If you like this podcast, show us your support by hitting that like button. And if you have further questions regarding the project, be sure to check the links in the description below to follow Flurry Finance on Twitter, Telegram, and Reddit. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.